What's going on, YouTube? Or Storm here, coming at you guys with a updated ban list. Has actually been updated relatively early. It kind of makes me glad I didn't update my Peddle and Magician list last night. We'll get to that. So we actually have a pretty quick new ban list right after YCS Pittsburgh had 32 out of 32 Zodiac list. We actually have a brand new list now. Call me if I'm wrong, but more often than not, we don't get an actual new ban list this quickly. Usually, I mean, you can count the adjusted list, but normally we don't get a list this quickly. But overall, I think it was a good decision on Konami's part after what happened at YCS Pittsburgh to implement a new list right now. They also say on this list that will not be updated until August 2017. Now, this list, the previous one, will remain in effect until June 11th of 2017. It's very, very important that this list does not take effect for a whole nother month. But so if you guys are still playing at tournaments, you're going to have about a whole nother month to play the whole zoo combo. So if you guys are going to regionals, whatever, we're still going to have to deal with it up until July 12th. I'm not sure what nationals date is. Don't quote me on that, but this could have a massive impact on nationals if this list goes into effect before nationals, because Pendulum Evolution, I believe, comes out right before nationals, so it's going to be interesting to see. But anyway, this list does not take effect until then. But we'll go ahead and get to it. So whatever decks you are playing right now are going to be playable through early June. So it's very important to remember. But so we'll go ahead and get to it. So first off, the only banned card in this entire list is Elder Entity Norden. I still think it's Tatsy Construct there, but anyway. Norden was a card that was ill-designed from the minute I saw it. Now, granted, one card rank 4 really wasn't a problem, but the fact it wasn't a hard once per turn, you could instant fusion it out, and its fusion materials were obnoxiously good. The fusion sub combo is now officially kaput. There's no more looping 4-card draw combos. They can still use their multiple emeralds and draw cards, but you're not going to see the set 4 Trident boards quite as much, which is really good. Good for the game that this card is banned, because it would have been a problem going into link format as well, because it's instant fusion is basically free link fodder at that point if your extra deck zone is open or you have an open link zone. So it's definitely a card that needed to be banned. There's nothing else banned on this list. Still see Exciton and Lawful Chain. I'm sad as well. But limited. So Speedroid Terratop has been finally placed at 1. Now, Terratop is a card that honestly should have you can debate between Terratop being limited and Invoker, but honestly both cards are insanely powerful. And limiting Invoker the reason they probably didn't ban Invoker was because they want people to move to the other engines, which is good, because when an engine like Terratop is heavily splashable in almost every deck, Konami is not going to let that run around, because you could justify playing Terratop in just about any deck nowadays. I remember playing it in Metal Foes, my Gofu Metal Foes. My friend was like, oh, why not play Terratop? I was like, well, wouldn't that conflict with Gofu? He's like, no, we're fine. And Terratop was honestly one of the best cards in my entire Metal Foe deck that day. I also loved it in Yang Zings because you could use it to be a 1-card Denglong, but this is a long time coming. It means that Predaplant, Peters will probably have to move to Predaplant engine, which isn't quite as good because it absorbs your normal summon and requires you to pitch a card, and has a Garnet. You have to play with it. So Terratop being limited, though, it still means you can still play Invoker, and we're still going to see the Zoo combo Invoker plays. Pretty much like we're not getting a new list until August link format, so we're going to be dealing with Zoos in the link format as well. The only other card that has limited is that Grass Looks Greener. This is a card I'm not going to miss. Because while on one hand I argue that the card itself is a bit gimmicky because you have to bump your card count so high in order to play it, milling 30 cards is amazing, but the card was ill-designed in the first place. Limiting this means it's sort of like what my friends said when they limited Reckless Greed. They said you really couldn't play it anymore. Limiting it, I feel like you might as well just ban it at this point, because it's going to be so inconsistent that nobody is going to be able to play it. Yes, you can left arm offering into that 1 copy of Grass, but the problem is Ash Blossom is running around at 3, and with Zodiac still being able to draw quite a bit of cards, it's just not a viable play in my opinion. So Grass being limited, I feel like it could have just been banned, honestly, in all honesty, because limiting it doesn't really... it may be sacky, but in a 60 card deck, drawing one card is so inconsistent. So, but that's the only changes. There's not a ton of changes, but you know, some of the main changes I think I'm a big fan of. And we also have no cards in the semi-limited, so we still have Rapier sitting here, Wind Up Magician, Thunder King, all at semi-limited. So we are going to see Rapiers running around into Zoo format. So I'm kind of tired of seeing this deck, but it is what it is. So the big changes on this list that everyone is hyped for is Pendulum Magicians have been pretty much been taken off the entire list at full power. Skullcrobat Joker has been put to 3. Wisdom Eye has been put from 2 to 3, and Pendulum Call has been put from 1 to 3. Now, the thing about Joker is that with Startime Magician being a card, it's highly searchable. So you can search Joker, recycle Joker. So it being to 3 doesn't change that much. It just means that if you have opportunities to open with Joker more, you won't have to search it as much. You can search other pieces. And this really helps Perform Pals as well, because now you have much more consistent ways to search your combo pieces, and you don't necessarily have to, and it's just more consistency is never bad. And it's also a scale 8. Yes, it restricts what you can Pendulum summon, but it's not the problem at all. Wisdom Eye going to 3. I feel like this is the step like Konami takes with some cards. They put them to 2, they don't do anything, so they put them to 3. Wisdom Eye going to 3, though, the extra copies of Wisdom Eye massively increase the consistency of your Pendulum Magician deck. Because it, again, like with Joker, it means that you can search other things with your Pendulum Graph when you're searching, and it just means you'll have consistent scale access at all times. And I'm really hoping this card will also be at 3 into Link format, so it will help Magicians with the new rule changes. We'll be able to have more ways to reset their scales after, you know, the scales get popped. And Pendulum Call going to 3. This is sort of like, I feel like with Skullcrobat Joker, where like with Duelist Alliance can search it out. So you're effectively, even with it limited, you can effectively have, you know, 4 copies of Pendulum Call in your deck along with everything else. So going to 3, I think it's obviously a really powerful card. It was limited for a reason, and it's a 2-card scale that prevents your scales from being popped. So it means if they have Unending Nightmare, they can't flip Unending Nightmare on you and keep popping your scales. If you Sky Iris up, they can't Twin Twisters. They can't use Tornado Dragon, and if you have Sky Iris up, they can't target your scales with cards like they can't target your scales. So that's also, you know, it gives Pendulum Magicians more protection, more consistency. It means with your Duelist Alliance, you can search other cards. You can search Pendulum Reborn whenever we get it. You can search Pendulum Sorcerer. You can search, there's just better cards that you can search now with the card. But overall, this ban list is interesting. It's interesting that they released it now, because the list doesn't actually go into effect until June 12th, which is over a month away at this point. It going into effect then makes sense, because I think it's right before Nationals, and Pendulum Evolution set releases the following week. So it's interesting that they're already releasing the set. And I've already gotten I think I've gotten everything, but I'll probably be updating Pendulum Magicians again, probably with the Dev Pro deck profile and a real life one later. But anyway, guys, about ends the video. I'll also have a podcast up later, hopefully talking about the ban list. So anyway, guys, as always, thank you guys for watching. Orstorm signing out.